Hey, how's everybody doing? Welcome to the worst reviews ever. I got my man KC Fred in here. We got Amazing, and we got the Manic Genius in the building.
Hey.
How's everybody doing today?
Good, good.
Good.
All right. So we'll go ahead and let me pull up the slides, and we'll go ahead and Manic, if you can get ready and read the first slide out, then I'll follow up with the director and the cast slide.
All right, we got Gunpowder Milkshake. Gunpowder Milkshake is a 2021 action thriller film directed by Navat Papasciuto, who
Yeah,
co-wrote
you're
the
right.
screenplay with Ehud
Lavsky, yeah.
Lavsky. Scarlett was forced to abandon her daughter Sam and go on the run. Years later, Sam is also grown up into a cold-blooded hitwoman. After a high-stake mission spins out of control, putting an innocent 8-year-old girl in the middle of the gang war she has unleashed, Sam has no choice but to go rogue. This ultimately leads her back to her mother and her former hitwoman sidekicks, who all join forces in an avenging war against those who took everything from them.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I went to that like little app thing that you could pronounce the name. So yeah, you got them right, man. Yeah. I was like, I'm tired of butchering people's names. Let me try to get it right.
Okay,
But watch me mess it up right now. Oh, what was you saying?
No, I said, look at you with the preparation.
Yeah. I'm trying to get a little better. I was like, man, they probably looking at this stuff like, man, if this dude butchers one more name, we running up on him. But all right, let me go ahead and get into the directed by. So that's Navat Papasciuto. Yeah, I see how to mess it up, giving you credit and stuff. Written by Navat again and Ehud Lavsky.
What's his last
Why
name?
you put me on the spot like that? Papasciuto. Yeah, there you go. I should have listened to the app a couple more times. So produced by Andrew Rona and Alex Heinen.
Which one's that last one? Ehud. Hey, how you say that?
Ehud Lavsky.
Ehud Lavsky. Okay.
Yeah. We getting them right, man. We getting a little better. All right, so let me go ahead and break down the cast real quick. So Karen Gillan as Sam, Lena Headey as Scarlett, Carla Gugino as Madeline, or Gugino. I know I butchered that one. She's actually one of my favorite actresses. I can't believe I messed that up. So Chloe Coleman as Emily, Ralph Ensign as Jim McAllister, Adam Nagatis as Virgil, Michael Smiley as Dr. Ricky, Michelle Yeoh as Florence, Angela Bassett as Anna Mae, and Paul Giamatti as Nathan. They had some legends on this thing, man. When I was looking at the cast and stuff, I had to go over it a couple of times. I was like, is that so-and-so? Because I know Lena, she's on a Game of Thrones. So I know she plays in that. And Carla, she was on that one movie. Well, she's been in kind of a few of them. The one with The Rock. When the world was having all those like natural disasters and stuff like that. He was in the helicopter and stuff.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that's her that played his wife and stuff like that. So definitely she played in a lot of movies. And that other horror movie, the Stephen King one we was watching, where she was like handcuffed to the bed. I forgot the name of that movie, but she was like the main person in that. So yeah, definitely Angela Bassett and Paul Giamatti, man, legends. So all right, we're gonna go ahead and jump into the rating scale. So we'll come to Fred first on this one. So, all right, Fred, what did you rate this movie as?
I actually gave it an 8, man. I thought it was very good.
Okay. So you got it on an 8 on the new scale. You got it between very good and excellent.
Yeah.
All right, Manic, what did you rate this movie as?
I got it as a solid 9.
Damn. Okay. A classic between excellent and classic.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, Amazing. What you have it as?
5. I give it a 5.
A 5? You get that contact with your like medication and all that, like did they go out?
I'm surprised. Right. I was surprised this girl power movie got you guys so much.
Well, I still gotta get mine. So I gave it a 8.2. So I got it in an excellent territory. So amazing is pretty much the outlier,
Yeah, go
and
ahead, explain
Manic with
yourself.
his 9. So amazing. You got to break down your rating first, and then Manic will go after you, and then Casey, Fred, and I will go last.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was like decent average, mainly because it's not necessarily the type of movie I watch it, but that's just about it. Like I watch I watch it. It's not the typical type of movies. I did like a lot of different scenes. I just thought it went overboard in some stuff, so that's why. I mean, I thought it was okay, so decent average.
Okay. A little disappointed in your rating on this, but no. All right, the Manic Genius. You had
So
a what was it, a 9 again?
yeah, 9, solid
Okay.
9. When I first watched this movie, I gave it a 7, and then I watched it again, and I was like, "This is definitely a 9." And my reason for giving it such a high score is because when I first watched it, I was trying to think of, or it made me think of Pulp Fiction. You know, that's what came to mind. And then with the whole blood, and it gave me Quentin Tarantino vibes. But he uses blood that's a little bit more realistic. um, but yeah, and then Kill Bill type vibes as well. But not so much of not so much of Kill Bill. It when I watched it the second time, it's in its own movie. Like it's not really Pulp Fiction. It's not a knockoff of any other movie. It kind of really just stands alone. So um, I gave it an overall 9 because it's just it was a solid movie from the beginning to the end. There were no scenes that I'm just like, that was a waste. They didn't need that. The acting was great from all characters. This wasn't a super serious movie, but it wasn't a comedy either. But they were able to balance it out by throwing some seriousness in it throughout the whole movie, but also adding comedy. And they didn't do it like from a comedic standpoint of like writing a whole bunch of jokes in there. Like it just flowed naturally. And you have to be kind of you have to kind of really look at things differently to find comedy in it. But I felt like I don't want to go too much into the scenes, but um I really loved how they sprinkled comedy in this. It was like very tasteful, and the overall movie was just solid from start to finish. The scene transitions, everything really made sense, and they told a story without making it too wordy. But you just followed along, and you just really understood, and you begin to know the character more and more. So the second time you watch it around, it just makes so much more sense, and it's definitely worth watching a second time
All right.
because you'll
Let me
catch
go ahead.
different things.
Cool. Let me go ahead and toss it down to Casey, Fred. So why did you give it your rating? And what was that rating again? It was a 8, right?
Yeah, it was an 8.
Okay.
So I
Oh,
thought it was very good, right on the verge of going into excellent. And so um I love, I'm not gonna lie, I love anything with Angela Bassett in it, but she wasn't even the main star, and that's what I thought was so cool. She was a supporting actress, but I love it because that mother daughter and the child growing up to be able to take over and go into the same business. And when she was asked, "Why did you even go down this road?" is because she was like, "Hey, this was where you left me, and this is all I ever known. This is ever all I ever saw." So you got a chance to see her grow up and make the choices that she made, and it was just, hey, I loved it. I love the suspense. I love the action. I'm kind of like Manic, where it just seemed like there was never a moment where all of a sudden it fell or you was like yawning. I mean, there was always some kind of action that was taking place. Um, there's quite a few of the scenes that I love, especially them being librarians, supposedly, and I just love everything about them being assassins. I mean, usually you see like maybe just one assassin, but to see so many of them, and it's like, I don't know. the kind of vibe I got was like the Three Musketeers, where it was like all for one and one for all. And so I was really happy to be able to see that, especially with women. We normally see that with men. And so that's one of the reasons why I gave it such a high rating. And so I gave it an 8.
Nah, pretty good breakdown. But I definitely I gave it an 8.2 because kind of the same stuff that y'all mentioned. I think it was a good combination of like I like the plot and the storyline. I did get like the Kill Bill vibes, which I'm a big fan of Kill Bill. That's one of my favorite movies. So I mean I like how they kind of had that spin on it somewhat. But like Manic said, it was still its own standalone story. Then they had like some of the humor, like you mentioned, where it was like overpowering. I didn't think they didn't overdo the action. It was like the action made sense because I think sometimes with action movies, a lot of times now it's just like, hey, throw some explosions in there, just have them fighting for no damn reason. But I think this one, everything was like timely and very specific and stuff. And then they also showed her like in vulnerable states and stuff like that, where she wasn't over the top and, she had them like down moments where she had to rely on other people and stuff. So I like how they kind of did that whole element where, she had to kind of team up and partner up with people and even had to, get that little girl to help her out throughout the story and stuff. So I think this was the perfect setup. And I know we'll kind of touch up on the plot storyline where I felt like this was the proper way how to, if you was ever going to do like a prequel or a sequel on a movie, I think this was the best way. Like you could set it up because they left it open where it was like they killed everybody to try to bring everybody back and something like that. So I just like how they set up the movie, man. This was definitely a great movie. But we'll go ahead and we'll jump into the questions unless somebody else has something else they want to.
Now, I like your point with the prequel and the sequel. Like, I would definitely watch the prequel. I would definitely watch the sequel. I would be more interested though in the prequel.
No, definitely because like one thing I think Frederick was mentioning, like Angela Bassett and them, like you had all these great actors, but they wasn't overpowering the movie and the storyline. They came in towards the end and stuff. So like Manic said, it's just like, what, you could have a prequel, like how the whole thing started off,
Right.
where they was younger, how they kind of came together. And, I definitely watched the sequel too, because I like how they kind of left the ending open, but I know we'll address that more. So yeah, I like how they set it up. I think this was one of the best ones where it's like, man, you can maneuver this in different ways and stuff. So I like how they set it up. So we'll go ahead and jump into the open discussion questions. So, all right, we'll go ahead and I'll start with Manic first. Would you recommend this movie to anyone?
Absolutely.
Damn, you ain't even hesitate on that one. What about you, Amazing?
Yeah, I would recommend it. I feel like as a general, yes, but also I definitely know for like my friends and family, I feel like who would like it and who would be like, I don't like it. So, but as a general, yes, I would.
Okay. Good point. What about you, Casey Fred?
Oh, I would definitely watch it again. I mean, like I said, I'm an action junkie, and it had plenty of action for you, suspense, a little thriller in there, and just watching the coming of age of a kid that got left behind and yet grows up and becomes excellent in the very thing that her mom, you could tell, would be very proud of. I enjoyed it, and I'm kind of like you guys. I would love for them to have a 2 or 3. I mean, just the way they was going off into the sunset. I mean, it just, they could have another spin to it at any moment. So yeah, I would definitely watch it again.
Okay. So you kind of mentioned that you will watch it again. So I'll go ahead and I would definitely recommend this and I would watch this again.
Just
Manny, would you watch this again? Yeah, Fred was like, he was kind of excited on this one.
Yeah, I'll watch this a third time. I think that this is one of those movies that you have to watch it a second time to really appreciate it. If you just watch it the first time, you can probably get most things, but there's stuff that's revealed in the end that just makes so much more sense when you watch it again the second time around.
Oh, okay. What about you, Amazing? Would you watch this movie again?
Maybe as like background TV. Probably. I mean, I wouldn't just like literally look it up and watch it again. But if there's nothing else on and I saw it on TV, I might say, okay, we'll leave it on.
Okay.
I mean, but I would recommend it. I'm just saying I wouldn't keep going with it.
Yeah, I definitely would watch this again. I probably watched it like 4 times already, so and I'll watch it again. So, but we'll go ahead and jump into the third question. What did you think about the plot or the storyline? And I'll go to Casey Fred first on this one.
I love the storyline. I mean, the way it represented, I mean, you knew the gunpowder was all about, being assassins, and there's plenty of bullets. It felt like they never ran out. But the milkshake, it was the key thing that I love, because one thing that was the core of everything, that little diner right there, because that's where it all began. And if you remember correctly, that's where it always was going to end. You knew the climax was going to be there. And man, for her to be able to make Scarlett to be able to make that tough decision, and was like, hey, I have to do this in order for her to be protected. This is what I have to do. And it was like the toughest decision she ever made in her life. But before I go, let's have one more milkshake. I just thought that was really cool, really cool. And then I think the little girl was Emily, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
And it was funny because towards the end, when Sam's got to come in there and she's ready to surrender herself, and I'm like, hey, I'm not gonna leave you like my mom did. I'm gonna learn from my mom's mistake, and I'm gonna come in here, and if I have to sacrifice myself, there you are. You see Emily, and once again, there's that little milkshake right there, for that moment. Now they didn't get a chance to really do it like the way the mom and Sam did, but it was just kind of ironic that would be there, and that would be the very place of where it started and where it ended. So I really enjoyed the storyline, the plot, especially, like I said, the band of assassins with Angela Bassett and them. It just felt like the Three Musketeers. We don't leave no one behind. We all go in here together, because there's plenty of times that somebody could have got left, but they refused to do it. And it was funny how they would come in there, and everybody had their own unique skill, and it just come in there and rock the house, and it was just really cool. So yeah, I loved it. So that's my thing. I enjoyed the storyline.
The jerk will definitely leave y'all behind. I just want to throw that in there. All right, amazing. What did you think about the plot or the storyline?
I did like the plot and storyline. I liked that it was focused. Like, again, I thought it was neat that it was like kind of the girls were the super heroes, versus normally I think you see kind of like the man or guy superhero. So I did like that aspect. Especially with them all being so like super ninja type. So I liked that also. Um, I did like also though from I like Fred was saying with the milkshake, I like how they tied that into like kind of just like all the personal kind of feel good scenes. Even from the beginning, I don't know if you remember, but when the opening scene when she gets to her house and she makes her own milkshake with like it shows her grabbing the ice cream and the milk and she's making her own milkshake. And then I also like the piece, just again to kind of tie the milkshake is when Sam would go to the diner for her milkshake, even when she met with Nathan, she would have two straws. So I felt like it was just kind of waiting for mom to come back. I'm going to be at the diner. I'm going to have this milkshake with two straws because they shared it. I also liked the way it made me think a little bit of John Wick, just as far as kind of like this underground enterprise when you have the secret hospital doctors, and the diner kind of reminded me of I think the hotel. I think John Wick had the hotel. So I liked that aspect. Trying to think of what else. I also liked just the storyline, the way they would do some of the slow motion type things on the things, during the pieces they really wanted you to pay attention to. So I felt like when Sam's mom first came in, some of the fighting scenes where they slow mode it so you could just really look and see what was going on. So I definitely did think it was a good storyline, and I do like how they kind of showed that mother-daughter relationship, and then how Sam was kind of that figure for Emily, and they tied so many pieces that Sam would do to Emily that the mom did to Sam. So I did like the storyline. I thought it was good.
So amazing, real quick before I toss it over to Manic. When did you start like disliking women and stuff? When
I
did you
just I
become a?
know I
I'm
liked
joking.
it.
I'm just joking.
It was just a lot. I thought they went a little extra on that piece, but I got some comments about that later.
All right, Manic. What did you think about the plot of the storyline?
I thought the plot and the storyline was solid. It was solid all the way through. Yeah, it told a story, and like to Amazing's point, it did give John Wick type vibes, but it was very different. I you could never confuse the two because it's just the mystery around the firm, and that's like the only kind of correlation. But I mean, even though this movie focused on Sam, the main character, it didn't disclose that hey, it's only women that we hire. So this firm could hires men. Clearly, we seen her fight the three, head. Um, what are they called? Henchmen.
Boneheads.
Yeah,
Boneheads.
the three henchmen. We saw her. They're like, hey, know who you're dealing with. Like, she's up there, and it showed when they actually fought. I thought the plot and the storyline was solid all the way through. There was, you know, sometimes when she got away or there was an issue, it was like almost by chance. But they didn't throw anything that was just crazy in there. And it's just like I see that a lot of times with action movies. The main character will be like back against the wall, and then they'll just like throw something amazing in there, and then all of a sudden it's just like, oh yeah, this person's saved now. But they didn't really do that too much with this movie. The only one part where they kind of did that was in the very beginning, where it's just like she pulls up and she's like, oh my gosh, I killed all these 5 guys, whatnot, and now there's all these guys, and it just kind of like clips the scene and just like, dang, it was a bloodbath. And it's just like, yo, that's how ill she really is. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that in a movie, especially in the beginning, because it sets the tone of like how, unique she is and her skill sets. I'll wait till we go to the next question to talk about the specific scenes, but I thought the storyline was solid all the way through. And the way they inserted the comedy was like perfect. It was like, yeah, it was like just enough. It's like so many movies I see nowadays, they try to add too much comedy or they try to add cheesy lines and to make it a memorable moment, and it really just ends up being corny. And I don't feel like they did that at all. I felt like the writing all the way through the plot was solid. It was like solid on the same storyline.
Yeah, I got the similar take with Manic, and I know I broke down a lot about the plot of storyline already, so I'll keep it short. But yeah, no, I just think it flowed all the way through, and then I like how they, like I said, with the actors and stuff like that, how they introduced them in. They wasn't overpowering. It came towards the end. It was timely
Mhm.
and stuff like that, and there was like even like a very good plot when they came in, and then when the mom came back and they introduced everybody, it was still some of that like bitterness, not even with the daughter, but even a group. So I like how they had that element, the group that was coming after her, because his son and stuff. So I like how they had all these like different elements, and then with the firm. So I like how they did all of that, and it seemed like it didn't get cheesy when adding all those different groups of people and stuff like that. Like I said, that y'all was mentioning, like John Wick and those other great movies. I think they did a similar thing of like introducing a lot of different parties, but not like Manic was saying, like going overboard. Like this person is just over the top, gets out of every situation. Because even a couple situations, it was just like, it's like it spiraled out of control, like out of her hands and stuff like that. So I like how they kind of mixed it up and stuff. So yeah, I definitely also like the plot of the storyline. So we could go ahead and jump into the fourth question. What scenes are actress performances stuck out? And I'll go to you first, Manic, on that one.
Oh, there were so many scenes that stuck out. I'll go with actors, actresses. I mean, the whole movie was solid. Like the surprisingly, the only person I would have just toned down a little bit was Angela Bassett. Just her character. It came off really, too strong in my opinion. But you know, that's like a minor critique on like such, amazing movie. I think one of the things that stuck out the most was the fighting scenes. Especially when she's fighting the three henchmen. Um, a lot of times in movies, especially when you have the male and female dynamic fighting, you know, everybody just all men's strength gets buffed. And it's just like the woman's just as strong as the guy. She punches the guy does flips and you know, and it's just so unrealistic. But the fighting scenes in this movie, it wasn't really about her strength. You know, whenever she went up against the dude, like she lost like the physical strength battle, but they made it clever in how she maneuvered and used the objects around her to manipulate the situation and to like make them kind of, you know, hit each other. And I think that choreography, I mean, she didn't look like an actual fighter, but it felt realistic. Like she got hit, she went down. She used protection when she had to. She couldn't overpower really anybody. She just kind of used her body to, or use their body to maneuver them, kind of like you do in like jujitsu to like kind of take people down. So I thought that was really clever, and you don't see that enough in movies. You kind of just see in most movies, the main characters just has crazy powers where they're super strong. They, so the fighting scenes wherever she fought, you really stuck out for me. And then one of the funniest scenes was they were driving, or she had exchanged the money for the kid, and they were driving away, and like you're like, how is she going to catch up to them? And like the problem gets solved by itself because of like natural greed, and that's a real thing. Like realistically, do I think the dude would have shot him in the car or tried to take over in the car? Like no, but it's possible. And it was so funny because it's like she's trying to stop them and they stop themselves and they're fighting amongst themselves, and she's like, and the camera pans to see her face and she's just looking like, what the hell is going on over here? Like and it was just so funny because I was just like, wow. Yeah, that was like the comedy element, and it served a purpose as comedy. It served a purpose as like showing, human behavior with greed. It served a purpose of like her stopping them actually, and it added another layer and level to the overall objective at the time, which was to get the money. And it was just like, oh dang, this is about to be a breeze. And it's like, oh, they're still fighting. No, it's not about to be a breeze. New problem, new dilemma. So it's just like that scene alone was just like, I was like, I really haven't seen that in movies. Like such a serious movie to add like that level of comedy that still describes human behavior and the whole dynamic of like working with a team and they're criminals. Like it was, yeah.
No, that was a great scene. All right, amazing. What scenes are actress performances stuck out to you?
I thought all the actresses did well. I mean, I thought all that, as far as that goes, everybody did their acting very well. I liked Emily. I just thought she was so cute, and she had some funny scenes that I just think just went with what it seemed like her personality maybe would be. I just thought that was a really good character. I did again, I mentioned previously, I liked the way a lot of stuff was tied between kind of like the moms, like momish being protective. I felt like even though they were assassins, like Scarlett would tell Sam, close your eyes, and then the same thing, I think she had made a comment, are you bleeding on the inside? And then you could see Sam do the exact same things to Emily. The other thing I liked a lot was when again the women were like very protective of children. Like they even during one of the library scenes, they had asked Sam basically like, would she assassinate other women? And she was like, yeah, women are on the table, but not children. So even though they were assassins, they would try to protect the children by putting the earmuffs on in the van and telling her to close her eyes and this, that, and the other. I thought it was super funny when Emily introduced herself as
The Apprentice.
Sam's apprentice. Yes, I that like gave me a giggle.
Yeah.
I don't know. I have some other ones, but I don't want to take away from Fred or you. So
All right, we'll come back to you. All right, Fred. Amazing, getting greedy on here. But yeah, we'll circle back. All right, Casey, Fred, what scenes are actress performances stuck out to you?
I didn't have any props, Amy, so I couldn't
Yeah, get the thumbs down on there.
Yeah.
No, I always have a little theme or something that just really kicks with me. And I felt like in this movie, the theme was mercy and forgiveness. And what I mean by that is, let's remember at the very beginning, the main character was the mom, who was Scarlett, but she had made a mistake. And that mistake, it should have cost her dearly. And so Nathan, who was like the keeper, not only did he go ahead and go the extra mile and stole her away, which we find out we thought maybe something happened to her or she died or something, but she was stored away. And then he goes ahead and takes it upon himself to be able to keep Sam, put her in the business. She does everything she needs, her training, she gets all her stuff that she needs. And of course she's watched over by Anna Mae, Florence, and Madeline and everything. But it was just the simple fact that he stored her away. And then when Sam makes a mistake, the forgiveness again, it was just like, hey, I'm trying to protect you, but you still took it a little too far. So the only thing I can do for you is give you mercy and store you away. And who does she run into? Her mom. And so all of a sudden, next thing you know, they're in that great hiding spot. And then that gives them a chance to recap and, develop that relationship again. And you've kind of felt that little theme of mercy and forgiveness all the way through the movie, because the person that she kills, there's another person she kills, which happens to be Emily's father. And so Emily has to be able to all of a sudden show mercy and forgive Sam. And she even tells her, hey, I know it's not your fault. I know this is the business. I know this is what you do and everything. And Sam, she even got scared towards the end of the movie because she even had a dream of the girl, getting ready to kill her, and find out she wakes up and, man, I need to talk to this girl. And she's on the bench. And you see this great maturity come out of Emily and say, it's okay. It's okay. You had to do what you had to do. But at the end of the day, you could have killed me too, and you didn't. You could have left me and you didn't. And you were there for me. And then, of course, when it came to Madeline, Florence, and Anna Mae, they had to forgive Scarlett, because Scarlett, when she took off, she didn't even tell them. She left them hanging, and they had to forgive her. And that was that. I was telling you guys that Three Musketeer, all for one for all. You don't leave anybody behind. And it was just like, hey, you didn't even let us know. We could have did something. We could have helped you. And so they had to forgive each other and band around. And then the next thing you know, I think it was at the very end of the movie where Grace and Mercy was there, and forgiveness was because here Emily is right there at the door. Sam has the shotgun, just ready, aimed right at his chest for Nathan when he opens up the door. And it was like, hey, you know what? You was there for us. You could have killed us, and you didn't. So at this moment, we're sparing your life, but just know, don't come after us, and we won't come after you. And I kind of like that too. And so I kind of felt there was a whole bunch of other stuff, but I felt like that was the theme of so many scenes, as far as just mercy and forgiveness, because it kind of carried through the whole thing. And because of that, it came all the way to the end where they're riding off into the sunset. And I really enjoyed it. I mean, there's a lot more, but I want Amy to go ahead and amazing to do her thing. So I let her have the floor now. But I definitely want to make sure I put those key points out, because that really kind of registered with me in this movie. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, and Jerk, you got to go too.
Yeah, he goes first.
I'll say the one major scene that I think stuck out, I thought it was just funny, was when she went to the hotel and she saw her mom, and her mom was like, hey, is that your my grandma? I thought that was funny and stuff like that. She was like, oh, hell no, so I like that moment. And then I like the scene at the end when they were in the diner and then everything was slowed up and they was just taking everybody out. man, that was probably one of the I'll say one of the best scenes I saw in any movie when they was
Yeah.
just all fighting and all the action in it, and it was just a slow motion. I was like, man, that whoever did the like camera work on that,
Yeah,
that was
visuals.
one of the best scenes I ever seen. So I definitely like that. And then the only scene, I mean, I like the scene, but it was like when Madeline died. I thought that was definitely a sad scene for the movie.
Yeah.
And that's why I did like the storyline, because I think Manic was hitting on it, where it's just like, they did have that loss in the movie,
Right.
and it was the like nicest person, what I'm saying? So I know I like the story how they did, sacrifice a person in the movie and stuff like that.
Right.
So I'll say those are the three major scenes that kind of stuck out with me. All right, amazing. Yeah, some extra.
Yeah, so the only one, actually, what you just said about the scene when Scarlett said, "Is that my granddaughter?" I thought it was funny because she had also just said, I just felt like there was some gaps also, which is with my rating, is because she was like, "Where have you been the last 15 years?" And she's like, "I've been watching you, basically, like protecting you." But then she's like, "Am I a grandma?" And I was like, "Well, you weren't watching too good if you didn't realize this whole 9-year-old could have potentially be your grandchild." So I just thought there was a couple things that didn't line up for me, but the other thing, actually, Fred, I thought you might mention it just because of the librarians. I thought it was I like the way when they picked the books, and they were talking, going back to just kind of like this girl power stuff. Is I was familiar with the first author, but I had to look up the other two just because I was curious, because I just knew like it had to link in there somehow. So the first three authors, when they're like, "Oh, she needs Jane Austen, she needs this and that," those were all like novelists that were like very modern for their time and considered feminist back in the 1800s and early 1900s. And then the last book she throws on, they kind of, I don't know if you guys remember, it's like a smaller book, and they kind of look at her weird, and she was like, "That's for reading." And I looked that author up because I didn't know that author, and she's like a crime novelist. So I just thought it was funny how they were like, I had just tied that piece back in, just for strong women, considering that was the whole theme of the heroes of the movie. Um, so I thought that was good. And then trying to skim through my notes here. Um, when they were in the library and they voted to go back and help Sam and Scarlett, the librarians, and they're all like, I, once a librarian, always a librarian. And then, of course, when Emily participated in that too, so it was like they were bringing her back in. So I liked that. And then I liked when they had went through the washer when they were trying to get away from everybody right before they went into the library. I just thought it was kind of ironic because of the last movie we did. I don't know if you guys recognize like that big infinity sign in the background. It was in like bright pink.
Yeah.
So I was like, there it is again. I just because I notice it in a lot of different movies now. Kind of like sticks out. And then the one scene, I agree with Fred, when Sam was having that dream of Emily killing her, and then she kind of woke up, because I think if that situation was real, I think it's a very realistic dream for her to have. And then at the end, when they were driving away after the big fight in the diner, and they were driving away, if you caught that song that was playing, it was saying basically, "This isn't going to last for long." That was like the chorus of the whole song. So I did think it was like the perfect setup um for a movie after, to follow up movie sequel. Just literally because of the words of the song was, "This ain't gonna last for long," and they all seemed like they were happy and go lucky.
Damn, I didn't catch that either. But no, it makes
Yeah.
sense. All right, so we'll go ahead and jump into the fourth question. So, if you were the director or the producer of this movie, what would you change or do differently? We'll go to you first on this. Amazing.
I'd probably just tighten up a couple of the gaps. Like I said, that one when, I don't know why that annoyed me, but I was just thinking you weren't watching very closely if you thought the girl was your granddaughter. So that was the one scene. I'm all for modernization and girl power. I just thought they went a little overboard with it. Like, I thought you didn't necessarily have to like say it, like literally say it, because you were showing with all the action scenes that this was all about like strong women, I thought. But I thought it was a little overboard with that. So I might change some of that a little bit.
I mean, was it really that strong? I mean, they had the firm; it was ran by all men, so it's just like they answered to them at the end of the day. So it wasn't like it wasn't
I
just
just
like a girl power movie. Like that's the part where I didn't. I was like, I don't think it's for girl power. I think it's like an equality type thing because I mean, women can be assassins too, but they didn't go overboard with it and make the women like superheroes to where they're like lifting up super strong things or anything like that. But I mean,
no no
and
no.
and as far as the mother, you're like, oh, I didn't like that because that was a whole. It's like, nah. If you pay attention, the mother is like a liar. She lies throughout the entire movie, like from the very beginning. Like, oh, I was just taking care of business. I was just a little bit late, like 3 hours. Like, so the mom always like downplays some stuff. So like, did I think she probably looked at her daughter and like watched over her a little bit? Yeah, probably a little bit, but if she thought she had a granddaughter, she really wasn't looking after her like that. She's trying to make her feel good because at first she was going to be like, "Hey," when the daughter asked, like, "Hey, where have you been?" The mom's first response was, "Around," and like it's just like 15 years and you just been around. Like, if the daughter would have stopped right there, then the mother would have took it as like, okay, she believed me, like, you know, but the daughter was like, nah, that's not a good enough answer. It's been 15 years. I'm not accepting that. And then she had to go into detail, like, oh, I've been actually looking after you. And it's like, no, she hasn't. And then the mother in the elevator is like, what's the plan? Oh, just an Uber. And he's like, oh, you have a backup plan. You always have a plan over a plan. And it's like, that's foreshadowing, telling you that like the daughter really knows the mom and knows how the mom operates. And even though the mom is lying to her and saying, oh, I don't have any backup plans, like this is just it. Um, it's like she's just a liar. The mother is just a liar. So I mean, uh, and then it foreshadows in the diner scene, which is like really clever, to where it's just like, hey, she's right then and there, and then all of a sudden it's just like boom, now she's got backup, and they put guns in the diner now, like, and throughout the whole movie, the movie's been consistent of like, hey, this is a weapons free zone, like a knife because you're the Russians, like even the Russians didn't have guns, like they had like knives and sticks and bats and stuff like that. But no, the mom's a liar and she doesn't follow rules.
I do. I think that's a good point that I didn't consider. You're right. She is a liar. I didn't consider it that way. But as far as like, because I think so many people talk about like feminism now is like a bad thing. I don't think it's an insult. I think people say it as an insult almost. But from like even the opening scene was like, oh, we clean up men's mess. And then, like she's killing all these people. And then like they're like, oh, she's a feminist. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, here we go again. Like we already see like she's a strong. I just think like the way people portray it sometimes like the actual verbiage was to me like overkill. Like, ugh, here we go. But I agree, the mom was a liar. Definitely. It's a good point.
Got that whole field. She's just a liar. That's it. But that's why I said you gotta watch the movie like twice, because you'll just pick up on things that it just becomes really clear when you watch it a second time around. And there's always going to be something you pick up. Like the first time around, I thought the daughter, or not the daughter, I thought Emily did really good. But the second time watching the movie around, I was just like, man, they really nailed like having her in there and her role. And she didn't do too much to where it's just like, man, the kid's not going to really be doing that. Kid asked randomly, are you a serial killer? Like just confused, like a random question and at the
Yeah,
wrong
that's
time to ask. It's like, but that's what a kid would do. So it's like that
No,
they
I
really
agree with
captured
that.
that.
But see, like for example, like when she saw her dad die and she was just like, hmm.
Yeah,
You know
that
what I
was a
mean?
little,
Like,
yeah, that part.
I'm like,
That's a good point.
okay.
Yeah.
Now and like in all honesty, I did watch it twice.
She's like,
I watched it the first time, but I knew like I wasn't completely paying attention, so I was like, okay, let me watch it again just so I have some info, and really pay attention. And that's why I was like, okay, that was definitely enough for me. Again, I thought overall, I thought it was fine, but it was just that was the other piece that I'm just like, okay, the 8 3/4 girl just watched her dad die, and she was like holding his hand and just like, huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, "Oh." I mean, this was like a gory death for an 8-year-old. So I just there's just a couple gaps there. And then the other scene that I just thought was I actually liked this scene, but I did think it was very fakey. Is when one of the boneheads was like literally gnawing on Sam's shoulder when he kept like biting her to try to win, and she just like looks at him nonchalantly, like, "What are you doing over there?" And then like turns around and like rips off a piece of his ear and spits it out. I was just that was a little much.
I like that scene. It was getting
I
brutal
liked
out
it.
there.
I just thought it was a lot. Just like, eh.
They
All
were on
right.
laughing gas too, so they were a little out of there.
Yeah, they was out of it. All right, let me go to Manic on this one. If you were the director or the producer of the movie, what would you change or do differently? Did you already?
No. I was just commenting on Amazing's points. I actually like the movie a lot. I mean, I'd make some like minor tweaks. Mostly with I would change the blood. I'd make it a darker red because there was like some scenes where the blood was just like too light. It looked so fake. Especially when she stabbed the last dude who was like greedy and was like trying to take the money. That scene, that blood was just like super bright. It was just too red to look realistic. I would tone down Anime's character just a little bit, not by much, but just a little bit, because I felt like she's a little over the top. It's like, man, you haven't seen this person in so long. And then to Amazing's point, yeah, that daughter scene, I would have made her either not see her dad dead, just because that's going to have to force her to be in like an emotional, to be more realistic. Because, yeah, you're not going to see the person who's been raising you, the only person you have in your life, and just be like, eh. Eh. It's like, I'm sad, but like, eh. So I would have changed that scene up a little bit. Maybe she doesn't see her actual dad dead. Maybe she just finds out about it and is just like in shock and can't really. Yeah.
Okay. All right, Casey, Fred, if you were the director or the producer of this movie, what would you change or do differently?
Actually, I enjoyed everything, so I wouldn't hardly change anything. I think the movie was meant to be the way it was. I felt like more than anything, I would probably have done like at the end, where like you do with the Avengers, you probably have roll the credits, and then you at the end you put some kind of villain or something to kind of set up the second movie or something like that. I probably would have done something like that. And then the only cute thing I probably would have put in was because Emily kept calling herself the apprentice or whatever, I would have like had some kind of training or something for her to get started with, so that way she could really feel like she was a part of it, because she didn't have nobody else. That was them. So, and the simple fact that they accepted her and brought her in, I would have all of a sudden made that kind of like official type of thing. It wasn't like they was going to break out adoption papers or anything, but just a little bit of training to kind of make her feel like, okay, that's right, I'm one of them, you know what I'm saying? And so I thought that would have been kind of cool. But other than that, I pretty much enjoy it. I mean, like I said, amazing. For a person that called it 5, you did watch the movie twice. So I just want you to know that. But anyway, I thought it was really cool. And just enjoyed it. I mean, I wouldn't change much of anything. I think as a breath of fresh air, because like Manic was saying before, we've seen this so many times, and like I brought up the Three Musketeers. Guys always do this, and so the simple fact that you got women that are doing the same thing, I just thought it was wonderful. And yet I know they don't have the kind of muscles and stuff like that, but they were creative, I mean, and even their skill set, you know, one using a chain, one using an axe, and you know, another one using a shotgun, and just all the little intricate things that they use. I mean, it was cool. It just kept you going, and it's like you were rooting for them. And so, I like I said, I enjoyed it. It was good, and I would watch it again. So, but that's what I felt.
Okay. Yeah, just like you guys. Honestly, I wouldn't change much or probably anything. Honestly, I would have kept the storyline the same. The only thing I want them to do moving forward when they do the second movie is make the girl Emily kill like Sam. You know, like after she trains up, you know, because like for killing her dad or something like that, make her go rogue a little bit, and then Scarlett has to like kill her or something. So you know, put a twist in there, man. You know, but yeah, I wouldn't do nothing to this movie. It was excellent. So yeah, that's my sentiment with it. But yeah, I think in the like next ones to throw it off a little bit, make it seem like she's going alone. She gets trained and then she just like snaps, you know, kills her and stuff. So yeah, they got to put a spin on her.
You know, Jerk, I would actually, to add on to that, I definitely would want Nathan to be killed in the second movie. You know, he had a little bit of mercy
go
in this one, but you know, I think his grace and mercy would have ran out for the second movie. So
well, you know, he's not gonna stay away. That's why I like what Mason was saying with the song. He's coming back because you know he's just fuming. He's one of them type of people just like, nah, I just got played. Like he's gonna pursue him. So that's what I'm saying. Like, hopefully they throw some like twist in there. But all right. So
sorry, can I add something?
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, I've been traveling today. I'm kind of tired. The thing I also forgot was for changes. I actually liked all of the librarians, and I thought they all did a good job. But I thought if somebody, one of them, um, kind of had to die. I felt like it maybe should have been Florence, but not Madeline, because I felt like Madeline was kind of like the mom of the group when she was, you know, like, oh, I don't know. I just thought it was extra sad that she was the one to go. I think it should have been Florence. I really liked anime, so I mean, I liked Florence too, but I would have probably picked her if it had to be somebody. So that was one, and then I just want to mention one thing because I don't remember who said it. I think it was Manic, but I'm not sure. But at the very end scene, so like the last massacre when when Sam is going to get Emily. I do like the fact, you know, like how the librarians kind of took over, but I can't think of the waitress's name, but when she was, you know, like checking different people in, and I think all the Russians were already in the booths, and that part was slow-mo.
Was it Claire?
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it was Claire. But they were taking out like axes and stuff. Oh, how the heck do you sneak that in? I mean, it's not like we're talking about a little knife here. And again, I like that part was slow-mo just because you could really, you know, just kind of see everything that was going on. And it gave me the other thing I wanted to add that I had forgot, was it kind of gave me very comic book feels. I never read comics, but I saw, you know, I know what they are. And I feel like that it just gave me kind of a comic book feel. And then the way they brought in like the actual like novels and things like that. I did like the way that was all played in.
Yeah, I did have that comic book feel. I couldn't like name it at the end, but yeah, that scene, that's probably the best one. So I like how they did that. That was, like I said, probably the best scene I've ever seen. So how it played out in that slow motion.
Yeah. Excellent climax.
Definitely.
But all right, we'll go ahead and jump into the last question. So now that you heard other people's perspectives, would you like to change your score or keep it the same? And I'll start with you, Casey Fred.
So I gave it an 8, and probably after listening to everyone, I actually would probably push it up to an 8.5. I mean, like I said, I really enjoyed this movie, and I know I'm an action junkie, so I get that, but the action and the acting was just spot on. And it was just like there was a lot of growth, there was a lot of development. There was, like I said, you saw the mercy, you saw the forgiveness. Everyone had to come full circle. There was a lot of maturity in there, and most of all, it was a lot of killing. So I love that part. And you just put it all together, and you just kind of enjoy the ride. And now, amazing for you to be laughing. I'm confused because the last week you were like, I'm all about gore, I'm all about this, and now
realistic
shooting,
stuff.
now you want to,
She needs to be there. She needs to see the life leave your soul. Like she needs to
like,
yeah.
soul
She's
leave
on
your
that
body.
bring me
sinister
the
stuff.
gore, you know?
No, like the
You gotta get her checked out.
gore.
No, but I really enjoyed it. I would push it up to 8.5 for real. That I can't wait for the next one. Yeah.
All right, man. Okay. 8.5. Fred done went up to. All right, amazing. After hearing everybody's perspectives, would you change or
I
keep
mean,
your score the same?
I'd definitely be willing to go up to like 5.05. No, I'm just kidding.
I was like,
You guys have convinced me. Like I said, I did. I mean, I thought
Yeah,
it was fine. I would go with. I could give it a 6. I'll give it a 6.
so you're gonna bump it
You
up
had
to
some
like a.
solid points.
Good territory.
Yeah,
So
we'll give it
okay,
a
between
good.
average and good.
Yeah,
Okay.
Gil had some
Okay.
solid points. Appreciate your perspective.
All right. All right. What about you, the Manic Genius? You already kind of up there.
Yeah. My score stays the same. And this movie for me, if I were watching this with somebody, because I've seen it twice, and if I had somebody who doesn't mind, I would be stopping it at like every other scene and just be like, let's talk about it. Like, because it's just like, what did you feel about that? Like, how'd that make
And
you
I'm
feel?
the sinister one.
Well, I mean, it's because it's such a good movie. Like, and then it's on Netflix too. Like, this is if I would have seen this in theaters, I would have been okay. I'd have been like, oh wow, I paid my money for this, and like this was a good movie. So without like they had explosions, but not too much over the top. They had body parts flying, which was which was kind of funny. It's like, oh wow, yeah. I mean, a bomb blows up right next to you. Like there will be a body part or two flying around. The visuals were really good, especially that last scene. So yeah. I'm keeping my 9.
All right. Yeah, I think I would probably just go up to like a 8.6. I'll still be in that excellent territory. So I'll go up a little bit to 8.6, but I mean, it's still an excellent category. So I mean, like you guys said, definitely a great movie, man. I definitely hope they make some more in a prequel. If they wasn't even thinking about it, go on and make that and tap into me. I could help you out with some twist. But nah, overall, great movie, man. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, yeah, just tap into me. Let me see it first. Like, like that's it. I just want to see it. So if it hits theaters, I'll be there.
But yeah,
I do think
go ahead.
I was going to say the prequel. I think I would watch both, whether it was a prequel or sequel. But I do think if I had to pick one or the other, it would be the prequel, just because I know they said Scarlett was saying how she met the librarians from Sam's dad worked with anime, so he was also like they're in that lifestyle. So I think it'd be interesting just to see how that played out.
Yeah. Could be Sam's dad.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think I want to see this sequel a little bit more. But go ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, it made me wonder, like, okay, just because of all these women, right? Like, what was the dad? Was he, because she said I met him through anime, so it just made me wonder, like, where was he in all of this? So I would prefer a prequel.
Yeah, that's actually interesting. I didn't even catch that part. So, like Manny said, you gotta definitely like slow it up and catch a lot of stuff. But shout out to the director and the writers, man.
Yeah,
like they did a fantastic job on this one, man. Yeah, this one caught me off guard when I seen it. I was like, damn, I definitely got to put this on our list. So we got a review. So they did a great job on that. But all right, we'll go ahead and give them outros and close this one out. So we'll go ahead to you, Manic Genius. Parting words, and where can we find you at?
Parting words. Thank y'all. This was a very good breakdown. I really enjoyed this one and this movie too. Definitely shout out to the directors. You can find me on IG, the Manic Genius, and definitely on YouTube on the Manic Sophistication. This is where I am.
All right, amazing.
You can find me here. Shout out also. I'll give a shout out to the writers too. If you need me, I could be a librarian that checks people in. That's
One that can't fight, shoot anything. You be there with some cards and stuff, huh?
I can pick out the books that
throw
directly
it.
relate to what's going on. I can be like,
Oh,
here's Jane
okay.
Austen. You need a Jane Austen. Like,
All right, they might hit you up and get you a role, man. You did go up a little bit in that score before. You want to you would have been a janitor at best. Like, hey, maybe you can sweep that floor over there.
Equal
We might catch you in a
opportunity.
scene or not, but hey,
I'll
your
take the
rating was
janitor.
despicable.
I'll take it, and I can show them how to attract my bucket of viewers.
With women that like
Hate
shit on
other
other
women.
women performances.
I said their performances is great. I can give them some tips.
I'm joking.
Women that hate other women.
Said,
Fred.
women that hate on other women. Your bucket, that's the bucket. But all right, Casey, Fred, parting words, and where can we find you at?
Definitely, like I said, I hope everybody goes out and watch Netflix. And I wish I would have, if it would have came out to the movie theater, I definitely would have paid my money for that.
Oh
Which
shit!
is not what I normally
This is
say,
the first.
Fred cheap as fuck.
But
Yeah.
I would have got my nachos. I would have got my chicken
I was
fingers.
wondering if you would eat during those blown up body parts on this one.
Actually, I would, even in the slow mo, I would have did all of that because, like I said, it was definitely worth it. It's not the norm. It's not what you normally see, and I love the coming together. I love the coming of age. I love how, like I said, everyone had a lesson to learn and to be better than what they was. So I don't know. I just enjoyed all of it, man. And like I said, I did like Manic said, I love the comedy, comic relief in there as well. A lot of funny stuff in there. And how old was she? 9. And what she say, 3/4?
8
Or
3/4.
And so she was just so cute in there. So she kept us all entertained and stuff. And then, like the Three Musketeers, don't leave anyone behind. So, and they all stayed together and rode into the sunset. And it's like we're all, waiting for the next movie to come out. And so I really enjoyed it. You can find me on IG, Facebook, Twitter. I try to do it all. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. Can't wait for the next movie review.
All right. And you can find me at the Manic Sophistication channel, IG and all that. I put everybody's like information at the bottom of the videos, but just going back to the movie, man, I'm surprised that this wasn't promoted more or talked about more. So yeah, hopefully we can start blowing up some of these movies, man, getting people to see this. Cause yeah, this one, I feel the writer and the directors and the producers, man, they need to be on like, if I was making an action movie, I'll be hitting them up quick because yeah, they definitely talented. So, but all right, we'll go ahead and close this one out. Thanks again, everybody, for watching and joining, and even you guys on the panel. Appreciate you guys. I love chopping it up and breaking down movies with y'all. So man, like, see y'all next time. Peace.